Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. In this video, we will be talking about the Expeditionary Fast Transport, the United States military's method of ferrying soldiers and equipment in shallow locations. Please remember to like and subscribe. Alright, Fact 1. Military Sea Lift Command. Despite looking like a Navy ship, the Expeditionary Fast Transports belong to the Military Sea Lift Command. The Military Sea Lift Men is a function component of the United States military that is controlled by the United States Navy, but however is responsible for transporting all its military resources. This means that the Navy operates them, but they are used for all armed forces. Any United States armed forces that require transport of equipment or personnel across waters can use the Expeditionary Fast Transport, and the Navy will have to provide this service to them. The Expeditionary Fast Transport is a very unique component of the Military Sea Lift Command, as you can imagine. The Military SEAL Command is composed mostly of transports and cargoes, and for this one, it is particularly interesting because it carries only short distances of necessary equipment and personnel to the designated location. The Military Sea Lift Command is a critical logistic component of the United States military. Without the command, the United States military would have to contract out transoceanic transport to private companies. Alright, let's get into the next fact. Fact 2, 35 to 45 knots. These transports are incredibly fast. Most of the transport-type ships of the Military Sea Lift Command operate slowly because they are all rather large. However, this one is particularly different because the fast transport is a lot smaller. Of course, this means that it cannot carry as many cargo for people or as a large cargo ship, but at the same time, this is serving a different purpose. The speed at which this transport can travel helps it to get in and out of situations quickly. Remember, this is sort of the last mile of the journey, and so they could potentially be very near combat areas or hostile territory, and so these ships need to operate quickly to ferry the people and equipment as fast as possible and then leave back to a friendly location, because this transport does not have too many self-defense armaments. The weight produced by traveling at the top speed of 45 knots could potentially be very noticeable and give the enemy pretty good indication the ship is here. Cool, let's get into the next fact. Fact 3. Hawaii Super Ferry. If you take a look at this ship, the way constructed the double hull catamaran, you will see that it's actually super similar to a ferry service that has been discontinued, and the ferry service that I am talking about is the Hawaii Super Ferry. Remember, this transport is designed as a ferry rather than cross-ocean transport. The Navy has much larger ships for transoceanic transports. This ship is really just designed to have that last section, last mile transport, where they can operate in shallow or stable waters. The hull of this transport looks incredibly similar to many other ferries around the world that carry just people. Now you can see the Hawaii Super Ferry and also other ferries around the world, especially in the United States, have this double hull catamaran structure, and again, it's proven to be a very good ferry structure, but not necessarily ocean going. It probably saved the ship designers a lot of time by simply taking what has been working in civilian ferry service and adopt it to military needs. Alright, Fact 4. Need stable seas. As I mentioned in the previous sections, because of the ferry is constructed, it is definitely not meant for transoceanic ferries. This ship requires very stable waters and has proven to be relatively difficult to use in unstable waters, and so if the waves are too much or there's some kind of weather phenomenon, you cannot actually use this fast transport, and so it is rather limiting in that aspect. And so if you think about it, inclement weather could potentially suspend service of the fast transport simply because it cannot operate in rough seas. It is pretty incredible to me that a military equipment such as this has such a limiting capability, because if you think about it, normally most military equipment needs to operate in day and night in good and bad weather. However, this fast transfer is only designed for stable good weather areas. When the seas are too rough because of its hull, it wouldn't be able to operate and have difficulties. As a result, most of the operations for this fast transport is likely going to be in areas with steep natural harbors with stable seas or barriers that can result in an area where the sea or the water is relatively calm. This ship is likely to only operate in areas that are fairly developed with good docks and controlled waves. If you think about it, due to the inability to work over rough seas in an undeveloped remote area, the sea and waves could be constantly working against the cliffs or land, causing relatively large swells. It is probably only suited in attacking well-developed ports. Alright, let's get into the next and final fact. Fact 5. Versatility. Now, despite it being constructed only for ferrying troops and equipment, there's actually many talks about how to convert this to other types of uses. For example, because it is related stable float in waters with a large horizontal platform, there's talks about changing this into a medical ship. It is easy to convert the level where everything is at to be sort of like a floating hospital. Incredibly, there's also talks from the Marines to try to use this fast transport for amphibious assault purposes. However, due to the inability to operate difficult seas and survivability in hostile waters, it is rather difficult to do that. They are investigating to see how the ship can be transformed to not just be a ferry but of more use, because if you think about it, the more versatility a ship or equipment has, the more it could get funding from the government and prolong its service life. It is part in the shipbuilder's best interest to come of all types of scenarios where the expeditionary fast transport can be converted to suit that particular service. I think too, in order to have more functionalities, the ship needs to solve the problem of operating over rough seas with large swells. There is simply too much limitation if the ship can only operate in calm seas. Alright, that's it for my video today. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.